In 20, 30 years' time, when the next generation of workers are here, I'd like to think they'll look back and say, wow, them lads done some job. They kick-started this whole thing, and not just for here, but maybe for other places in the country too. Obviously, Ireland is one of the lowest rates of forestry in Europe, so anywhere you can plant a tree is always good, be it where you work or at home or whatever. We're doing it for both here. We're planting trees to grow mature and just give the place a bit more character. And obviously we're planting birch that we can get crops off to use in the jumps here. So we're not having to get, source the birch from somewhere else in the country. If you can grow it on site, that'd be great. Obviously we won't get it all, we need a hell of a lot, but if you can do some, that changes things a lot. We planted our first birch plantation, as you can see here behind us. There's 1,000 in this plantation in early 2022. Just down the course there a bit, there's another plantation of 1,000 trees. And then we also planted 500 broadleaf trees in front of that, but they're going to be let grow to maturity, and the plantation will be behind that. So when we cut the plantation down to the ground, you'll still have the broadleaf trees at the front, giving plenty of character for the people for the stands to see. This time last year, we were approached to give a piece of land, I suppose, that we could plant trees on, the 100 million tree project. Basically, we gave them a quarter acre, a very small piece of land, and somehow they fit 2,500 trees in there. So we've also planted some lilandi. The fences need greenery on the front aprons, so we've planted that. And again, the idea is to be self-sufficient with growing the lilandi, so we've about 220 linear metres of that planted. So between the birch, the broadleaf trees, the lilandi, the 100 million tree project, hedging and stuff that we've planted up on 7,500 trees here in Fairyhouse in the last 3 seasons. On the inner part of our track, we have a local shepherd, Ashley, he's a great man, who brought in some sheep to maintain the inner part of the track. Up on 700 sheep during the summer, if needed, depending on the growth, of course. So when I started here, took on this job, I said, why not let them expand out? So we have our main outer track here, and we have an inside race track as well. So rather than waste fuel and maintenance costs of tractors and mowers and the time it takes as well, why not let the sheep out to maintain the inside racetrack? So we did that. They can maintain the inner ring and then the outer ring as well. So depending on the growth and the time of year and how many sheep are there, we can put them inside to outside, and they maintain the racetrack and the inner part of that for us too. He appreciates it, and we appreciate him. He's a sheepman first and foremost. He looks after his family, which is his sheep, and we're delighted to have him because he's helping us. The sheep help us too. There's lots of benefits that the sheep have here. Obviously they're keeping the grass down, which saves us a lot of time and money and effort, and saving on fuel. We've tried to cut glyphosate spraying here. We've definitely cut 40%, if not 50% less than we were spraying a few years ago. Obviously that's benefiting nature, and I just say, if there's no need to spray, why are we spraying? We just have to get away from this culture of long grass is bad, long grass is untidy. Like, we're in the country here. If there's long grass out around the edges of the track, it doesn't need to be sprayed. No one sees it. We got an audit, an ecology report done, and surprisingly they found some rare species of fauna on the inside there that hasn't been farmed in decades or over 100 years. And they're attributing it to that all that's there is the sheep just grazing. It's managed in a certain way, that there's been no fertilisers or anything spread. They're using that as an example now, that if you do this, this is what you will get. You'll get these rare forms of fauna that haven't been found within 50 or 100 mile radius. Between their grazing and the management of how long they spend on that land, it's allowed these other plants to start to come back and flourish, whereas otherwise they wouldn't have had a chance. So the ecology team came in and they found a rare adder's tongue fern. I never heard of it. They said it's there. They were impressed by that. There's a species of orchid there that they haven't identified yet. On top of that, there's breeding pairs of skylark in the middle. There's a meadow pipit, I believe that's a red-listed bird. That's been spotted in there too. There's eels in the reservoir, which took us by surprise too, so they must be coming in from the surrounding ditches and things. We have our primary reservoir in our machinery yard. That's approximately 750,000 gallons. We had a secondary reservoir in the middle of the track, and that's basically in the lowest part of the track where all the drains and stuff come into, all the land drains, the drains from the car parks. We took it on to expand that last year. So our secondary reservoir has been expanded to about 850,000 gallons. Now that reservoir is effectively a giant rainwater harvesting. It's fed from all the gravity drains and things. That gives us a total of 1.5 million gallons to use from. We're lucky here that our reservoirs are filled by a well underneath the stand. so we're self-sufficient in that regards, and obviously our secondary reservoir is filled from the land around. As far as I know, we're the first racetrack in Ireland to convert our fleet of machinery to HVO fuel. Well, again, HVO is vegetable oil and it's 100% renewable. So obviously that's going to contribute a lot to becoming carbon neutral, or as far as possible as we can. Yeah, we expect to have approximately a 90% saving on emissions when compared to the normal diesel fuel. Look, traditionally there's been a certain way in this country of doing things, and going forward, you just like to challenge them concepts. If everybody keeps doing things the way we done 100 or 150 years ago, we'll still be on penny farthings and just walking around everywhere. I mean, things have to change and you have to keep with the times. Now, you're not talking about reinventing the wheel, you're just changing direction slightly.
We're now going from green diesel to HVO. From a track point of view, harvesting rainwater. The environment, everything is evolving and we have to keep up with it and to be prepared to see where we're going. And the support we've got from HRI grants, etc., to allow us to put in irrigation systems, increase the size of our lagoons, all these things are very positive. We're delighted to partner with Return in terms of the bottle and can scheme, and they're working with the children's charities, and we're delighted to be working with them. So therefore all our cans and bottles are going back to help the children's charity with theirs, including Bernardo's and Bardstown. And you know, again, that gives you a lift as you're doing something positive, because people think one 15-cent can might mean a whole lot, but suddenly on a big race day and everything is all cumulative, then you have a benefit. And when you can see it going back into the children's charities, it's great. If everyone does a little bit, we'll get there. And that's the way to look at it. It's great to see it, but like we've done the step now. We've put in, our EV chargers will be in December, our HVOs will be, that's done, box tick, let's move on to the next thing. Sustainability, when you think of it first, you think of it as a cost, but you have to look at it very much in the bigger picture. Yes, when we went to fence around the sheep inn, it was a big cost, but we've got it back in multiples since, because we're not wasting labour units driving around cutting grass, using diesel machinery, etc. You know, and that's the way you have to look at it. It's the bigger picture. And people want to see that you're proactive, and we have to be seen to be proactive. We see the importance of sustainability, we see how it works. Why are we doing it? It's for the next generation. It's important that Fairyhouse and the racecourse leaves a legacy behind us, and I think we all accept that that's what we need to do.
There's been 170 years of work, sweat and tears put into this land here, and you definitely don't want to jeopardise that. It's an important piece of land, the history behind it and what it stands for now, which is one of the top racetracks in the country, and we want to carry that through going forward as well. So we won't be here forever. We'd just like to pass it on to the next generation of workers in a good way, and hopefully they can see what we were trying to do and carry that on as well.